What's up, crypto fam? It's Phantom taking another look at the market and news in the crypto space. Today, it's March 6th. We've got the little dog in attendance to help try and correct some of this Bitcoin decline that's going, it's hitting the market. Everything's red. The fear and greed index that we always take a look at is still in 22, 23 territory, extreme fear. These are kind of setting up for something to happen. Generally, when these things collide, at least I've noticed in history, it tends to be some type of punishment, then reversal. Or this could be, a big old bear trap where we are really testing this trend line that I drew on the weekly. Just a reminder that this is the weekly, so we can drop below this as long as we don't close below it is the critical part. So we can come through here some, we just can't close this candle below the support, or I think it's bad news until the 30K region, anywhere from 29 to 32. I think we can find some support. I think there's going to be strong support there. There will be a strong bounce there. I'll for sure have buys set up there in that range, just in the off chance that it does wick down there. Obviously not financial advice, but I think it's a very strong area of support. It's proven support in the past, and I think it will prove support again. But cryptocurrencies, the market's bleeding just because of this entrenched war that is just continuing to get worse and worse, and the news is sadder and sadder. You would think that with all of the things coming against Russia at this time, they'd put the brakes on some of it, but they're just relentlessly pounding and shelling cities. I heard today that children were killed. It is a disgusting, violent war. Nobody wants war. Sometimes people in power, I would beg to differ, seem to benefit from it. I think as far as most of the community doesn't want war. It's a painful, sickening experience. People die, loved ones have to leave home, fly overseas. There's panic, there's anxiety, there's fear. Everything that's hitting the market is amplified if you're in this, right? So I take it with a grain of salt, that the market's getting hit because of the anxiety of the war, because it's a small part to what's actually going on out there. People have loved ones leaving their house and getting on planes to go overseas that they'll, only hear from sporadically. So it keeps things in perspective. That said, with everything red, I think we're close to a bottom. Think if this trend line gets ripped through, we can head down to the 32 to 29K region, but I really have hope for this trend line, that this trend line's going to be a support for us, and we will continue our move upward. I truly believe that. I'm guessing it's going to be around midweek to early next week that things really start turning around for the market. I'm hoping that gives enough time for things to kind of calm down over in Ukraine and Russia. The Fed will be releasing news by then on officially what they're doing as far as interest rates. I think that's going to be helpful. eBay, don't forget, is coming out on the 10th with some type of news event. I want anyone that follows me to know that that's if they announce that they're going to start taking cryptocurrency or specifically Bitcoin, eBay's an enormous company, so that can be very bullish news that comes out and spikes the market. Not saying that's going to be the start of the full recovery to moon mission, but eBay saying that they're going to come out and start accepting Bitcoin opens the doors to large companies, like Amazon or retail companies, Macy's, things like that. So, yeah, I'll be watching very closely on the 10th, because if eBay comes out saying they're going to start taking in Bitcoin as a form of payment, I see that as a bigger deal. And I think that's a news event that can spike the market. So I'll be paying attention to that date. I want to make sure I keep reminding everyone, because I know with the red, sometimes it's hard to see the glimpses of light that are coming down the road. But it's important. I'm not a permanent bull. I don't want you to expect that from the channel. I tend to just look at things objectively. I'm done coding for 10 years. Logic is where my mind is at, and I've been more successful when you can remove the emotion from it. So, looking at this, I don't see the scare volume that we were seeing before, right, when we started plummeting. I see a market that's in fear just because of this Ukraine-Russia conflict and the news that's coming out with the Fed. I think that's all hammering at the same time, and we haven't fallen that far with that news, which tells me there's more buyers coming into the market that are holding this price at a level it is. I don't think a lot of money's changing. You start to notice when I think some people are pulling out money now, probably because they think Monday when the S&P opens, we're going to crank down with all the news that's happened over the weekend. But whenever you see the exchanges transferring Tether to their wallets, it's not usually a good thing, because the only reason that they need that Tether is generally because people are selling their cryptocurrencies for USDT. So the tweets that we want to see come out are that Tether's being printed, right? That they need to start creating more Tether because there's more demand in the market for USDT. But you don't really want to see the exchanges moving more to their wallets. I'm hoping, small glimpse of hope, that it may be because there's money preparing for a big buy for March. So that's the other side of the sword. There's two sides to the sword. It could be that the exchanges are getting hit with people pulling out of the market, but it could be people preparing themselves for a big type of news event coming this week and possibly the week after. So I will be very much paced into the news cycle when those events happen. I'll try to get some more information on exactly when the eBay news is to be released and the Fed news, because I think they're going to be larger events this month for cryptocurrency. The Fed, you need to watch out a little bit because sometimes the preemptive news leaks and we spike before the event actually happens, right? And then we get a buy the rumor, sell the news type of event, and people kind of get left holding bags. So it's something you need to be very careful about. But I'm hopeful we get a couple news events coming in the next couple weeks that are going to be good for the cryptocurrency space, I believe. So the two news articles that I wanted to bring attention to that I found interesting in my research today was Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin slip as the Russia-Ukraine conflict gets entrenched. why investors need to brace themselves for a roller coaster week. And major coins remain depressed as a sign of de-escalations of hostilities between Russia and Ukraine embedded on Friday. It's more or less goes on to say that the Ukraine crisis is getting worse before it gets better, and that has fear in the market. There is quite a bit of volume increase in the ruble to Bitcoin space, and I know that has some people fearful, but over the weekend, Russia's President Vladimir Putin told his Turkish counterpart that the end of Moscow's operations in Ukraine is only possible if Kiev stops military operations and carries out well-known Russian demands. So Russia's basically saying that they're not leaving until they win. That's not good for the market. That's not good news for any high-risk assets. So hopefully the sanctions keep tightening their grip. Visa and MasterCard are no longer approving payments in Russia. That's a big hit for them. I'm hoping they get strangled enough that they have to stop to come back to breathe. I don't want this to continue. I don't think it's there's no winning in this situation, right? So hopefully this calms down over the next week or two, and we can move forward with healing and repairing and the recovery type of effort. So the other news article that I found really interesting, Steve Wozniak, who is probably one of the smartest men on the planet. They call him the great and powerful Woz for a reason. If you don't know him, he's the co-founder of Apple. He's an absolutely brilliant computer programmer. He designed the Apple II. He's the reason that the Apple II exists. He's the reason that Apple, along with Steve Jobs, obviously, but he was the engineer that made all the hardware work. So the man is beyond his time. And he came out calling Bitcoin pure gold, which was fantastic to read. He came out saying Apple's co-founder had some words of praise for Bitcoin in his recent interview with Business Insider, describing the largest cryptocurrency as pure gold mathematics. With that being said, the legendary electronics engineer and computer programmer has significantly less favorable view of the broader cryptocurrency industry. In the aforementioned interview, he pointed out the sheer number of cryptocurrencies that are being created on a daily basis, claiming that many cryptocurrencies projects are basically rip-offs, which I agree. He's spot on with this, right? I know this is an unpopular opinion, but Dogecoin's a perfect example of this, right? They just forked Bitcoin, forked the branch, so it's a duplicate of Bitcoin at a specific period of time, and they put a meme picture of a dog on it, and it's become what it's become. Astronomically increased in price. Elon Musk tweeted about it. It was in the front of the news cycles. Everything. Started off as a joke. So Wozniak is spot on with this. Anybody can create a cryptocurrency, and all these are open source projects. So anybody can go out and see this code. It's available on Git. Anybody can create an account and go in and see the commits being made by the engineers and the developers. They can see pull requests that are being made so that things get added to the proper branches. They can see what the deployment schedules are going to be. They can see changes or revisions that they've been making. All of it's transparent and out there for the world to see. But that also means that it can also be forked and duplicated or copied or changed on someone's specific version. Obviously, not on the main versions that each company provides. But I think he's spot on. There's nothing to really control or rein in the garbage projects. So it's more important than ever to always do your own research. Only invest what you have high conviction in. Only invest what you can afford to lose. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but you always want to... If you purchase anything offline, right, you're going to do your research. You're going to make sure that you're getting the best for your money and that it's going to be an investment that lasts. And it should be the same when you're investing in the crypto space. Make sure that the company has solid leadership. Make sure the company has solid development team. They have a clear marketing strategy. So him coming out and praising Bitcoin is a big deal. I've been a fan of Steve Wozniak for a decade. I think the man's absolutely brilliant. Still ahead of his time. Still one of the smartest people on the planet. And I think he's nailed it. I think Bitcoin is mathematical gold. I think it's going to become more mainstream than ever in 2022. I think all the terrible events that have happened this year so far and at the end of last year are the spark to mainstream that Bitcoin needed to take off. It's going to be slow at first, but once this starts rolling, it's going to be a big, big deal. And we're lucky enough to be in it early, right? So I'll close with the same advice. Now's the time to research different projects. If you're interested in trading, now's the time to educate yourself, learn different trading strategies, create a plan for yourself when you want to get in, when you want to get out, what you're happy with as far as profit, those types of things. Now's the time to put your head down and work. So that when this market does get active again and starts moving, because right now it's grandpa, it's snoozing. Once this starts moving, you're going to want to have your plan in place. So you can just work on executing the plan instead of creating the plan on the fly, and you're more apt to make mistakes. So use this time, keep your head down, educate yourself, research different projects, research the space. And I think we'll be moving in the next couple weeks. In one direction or another, my thoughts are to the upside, just from the way the charts read to me. I could be wrong. I think if we do move down, though, 32 to 29K is going to be a very strong support area that I'm going to be looking at very closely. But until then, make the most of your time. Make the most of this market moving sideways to be prepared for when it does start. Because when it does move, it moves violently in good and bad directions, to be honest. So, but that's all I've got for today. If you like this type of information, definitely consider giving a follow. I'm still posting them on YouTube. I'm still trying to stream these every day. I hope the news is helpful. I hope the chart analysis is helpful. I will go into more altcoin analysis once Bitcoin decides to do something. But I don't want to waste your time going into altcoins when right now Bitcoin's undecided. So, till then, if you have any comments, suggestions, things that you'd like to see on the stream, things you'd like to be changed, definitely follow, send me comments, send me chat, messages. I'm on Twitter. DM me there. More than happy to have open dialogue with anybody that's out there that's interested in this type of information. So, hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. Hope Monday's not too brutal for you. Hopefully the S&P opens okay, and we don't open red everywhere, but only time will tell. So stay safe out there, and I'll catch you tomorrow night. Until then, peace.